people have needed me for so long to really be the glue holding it all together. And I think these last 3 or 4 years, for Mary Beth especially, to adjust to that of releasing them into life. But the beauty of it on the other side is, as I think more and more time is going on, we get to do that together. We are really excited about this season and this time as well.
You're known for a lot of things. Obviously, you're known for music and all of the things that come with that. But somebody said something to me today that if someone said it about me, I would be glad to hear it. So I wanted to share it with you. She said, "I love that Stephen is such a huge fan of his kids. I feel like he is their ultimate hype man."
I love that. That is true. I would gladly accept that title, ultimate hype man for his kids, because I am. It was so sweet. Actually, yesterday I ran into Chris Tomlin. It's one of the fun things about living in Franklin, Tennessee. So I'm sitting at a table with my buddy, and we start talking, and all we talk about is our kids. I'm talking to Chris about Stevie Joy, our daughter, who just won national champ, her Alabama co-ed cheer team, University of Alabama. She's a cheerleader there on the co-ed team. She's the flyer, the one that they throw up in the air and all that.
She's got the scary job.
Yeah, she's got the scary job. So I'm telling him, and I'm like, and did I hear your daughter it just is in a movie, is got a part in a movie? And he's like, yeah. And he starts telling me all about his girl, and it's like, all right, see ya. And then this happened, and then that happened. So yes, I am a hype man for my kids, for sure.
I think it's awesome. So I have an 11-year-old son and a 7-year-old daughter. So I need to know from someone who has been there, how am I going to survive the teen and tween years? Because right now I don't know that we're going to make it.
So many people would often say, boy, just wait till they turn into teenagers. Wait till they become teenagers. And I honestly have to say that now I have the most amazing kids. Again, I'm going to hype them, but, I had incredible all five of ours that we got to see through the teen years. Our youngest, Maria, has not been with us. She went to be with Jesus 16 years ago, so we didn't get the teen years with her, sadly. But all 5 of our other kids have just been amazing, even through the teen years. There were challenges, to be sure. There were struggles, for sure. But I'd always heard this saying that says restrictions or rules without relationship breeds rebellion. That's a lot of R's, but it really is true. It's like, if our biggest thing was just, how can we just maintain a relationship with our kids through whatever they're going through? How can we, and there's going to be restrictions, there's going to be rules, there are going to be things, and really the other part is just humility. God gives grace to the humble, he resists the proud. And I think, the more humble we can be as parents and acknowledging, and this was kind of our thing as with our teenager kids, especially, because they get in that place where it's like, man, I know more than you do, and all of that. And then you have to say, well, I've actually lived through these and a lot more years. So I actually do know more. And even if I don't know more, I'm the parent. And so here are the rules. But even in that, I think there was, for my wife and I, we're in this together. We're not the ones that all-knowing ones who are just barking orders at you from our lofty place of all knowledge and wisdom. We're in this with you, but God set it up this way. Somebody's got to be the one in control, and we do have a few years on you, so this is how it goes, but we're going to keep the relationship open. Those are some of the thoughts that pop into my brain when I talked to someone about raising teenagers, because it's awesome time.
So I've been thinking a little bit about your new song, and I think with I Will Be Here, you sort of became like the wedding song guy. And then with the new one, it's like the vow renewal song, right?
Oh, yeah. There you go. Yeah.
Because
I like that. I'm down with that. Yeah.
Good. Because, you've got, and I Will Be Here, it's almost like it's the beginning stages of a relationship. And it's the, when you say your vows in love and in health and in sickness and it's, you can't imagine what's coming. Mm-hmm. But now that you have a few years down the road, I'd love to know what it is that you think you've learned about marriage along the way and how you approach it a little differently than back in the early days.
That is so very true. I talk about the fact that I wrote I Will Be Here, 5 years into our marriage, and so much of it was written, with, I want this to be true. I wanted to sing that song to as many people as I could, because it's sort of, there was an accountability that came with it. There have been times over the years where literally it's like, these are the things that I've not just said to my wife, made a commitment to her, but I've said this to a lot of people now. There are a lot of people that have heard me say, I will be here when you feel like being quiet, when you need to speak your mind, when the laughter turns to crying, through the winning and the losing and the trying, when the mirror tells us we're older, all of these things. I mean, I was saying all of that when we were younger, much younger, and yet I was making these promises, again, by, God's grace, that I would be able to live up to these. And those that know the history of that song know that it was written out of a very difficult time early in our marriage when my parents went through a divorce. The enemy just, pulled them apart. And so that was really unsettling for Mary Beth and me, very terrifying, really, because they had just been my kind of like, they were the ones that we were following, her parents too, my wife's parents, who just celebrated their 70th wedding anniversary, by the way. That's what awesome. An amazing legacy. And they're still with us as well. And so very thankful for that. But anyway, that song, I Will Be Here, came out of that. So I'm saying this to Mary Beth because I can see the fear in her eyes and she can see it in mine. Like, gosh, I thought my parents had it all figured out. And now, and so it's just like, I'm going to state these things. I will be here, no matter what happens. We wake up in the morning and we have no idea what's coming. And of course I didn't know. At that point, I was that was on my second album. No idea where this career was going to go, where, how all the blessings and the mountaintops that were going to be so amazing beyond anything we could have imagined, winning Grammy Awards and all the kind of crazy stuff and touring and all, and how busy and crazy life would get. And 3 kids, then adoption, which just transforms our life so much that we never imagined, beauty and brokenness and hard. Mm-hmm. Certainly losing our youngest, Maria, almost 17 years ago now. There have definitely been mountains and valleys higher and deeper than I could have even imagined. And this new song, Forever the Love of My Life, literally was just a birthday gift to my wife. Just a song that I wanted to write to her, just to give her a few years ago for a birthday, and just tell her again, how much she means to me, and probably as much as anything, because as I say in the song, she's beautiful even though she'll never see it, she'll never believe it, she'll never know it, even though I keep telling her, and I can see in her eyes, she smiles and says, thank you. But I can just see it in her eyes that she, struggles with really believing that about herself, as I think so many women do.
That's the line I wrote down. That's the line. That's really? The exact line, that I grabbed because it spoke to me so much.
Yeah, I think all of us, that's part of the reality that we all struggle with. But to be able to see the ways that, God has been at work in both of our lives, and we would both say it, that it's been through our marriage relationship, and that is why, it's such a holy, sacred thing that God gave us to even show what our relationship to Him was as the bride and the groom and all of that. And yet it is the most attacked thing because of that, of all the things that the enemy of God and the enemy of all things good and beautiful and reflective of the beauty of God and His heart. Well, marriage and the family is at the center of that, right? And so that is the most attacked thing as well, because if the enemy can destroy that, then he's going at the heart of, of God. And I think knowing that, experiencing that in our journey, and yet realizing that that's the reason why it's so hard. Sometimes I literally will have conversations with people in a meet and greet at a concert, and someone will say, gosh, your song, I Will Be Here has meant so much to my wife and I and our journey, and we've gone through this, we've gone through hard, we've gone through things, and or not even just I Will Be Here, just talking about the music, the songs that have encouraged them, and they'll share some of their story of how it's impacted them, sometimes to consider adoption, or, you and Mary Beth and your journey inspired us in this way. And sometimes I'm literally fighting tears back, not because so much their story is so hard, but it's like I'm literally in my head going, Yeah. Oh, okay. That's why it's so hard sometimes, because it's really, really been hard. And we have cried a lot of tears, and not grief and the loss of our daughter and the tragic, terrible loss of that, but just a lot through our journey and our life. And
what do you think is for you? What are you most surprised about in this season of marriage?
That is a great question.
Because right now all the kids are gone, right? You're technically
we're
empty
nesters.
Yeah.
And that was a very much desired and anticipated,
Right.
looked forward to moment. And then it's been way harder, I think, on my wife than either of us expected. Because, my wife has been, mom, CEO, of family and raising kids. We empty nested 4 years ago. And I think these last 3 or 4 years for Mary Beth, especially, to adjust to that of, people have needed me for so long to really be the glue holding it all together. And now releasing them into life. And of course, a mother's job is never over. She's on the phone talking our oldest daughter down from the ledge, Emily, just 2 days ago over something that's going on. And Emily's in tears on the other end of the phone, and her mom's trying to encourage her. And, and she looks at me and says, yeah, it never ends being a parent. Just never, once a parent, always a parent. Yeah. But certainly the need for you is different, and what's needed from you. But the beauty of it on the other side is, as I think more and more time is going on, that we're getting to enjoy what this empty nest is. And thankfully, again, by God's grace, we haven't sat across from the table and said, now, tell me your name again. Right. I know you, but we raised kids together for, 35 years, and our whole life revolved around that and them. Now I don't really know, well, what do we do with this? We were really excited about this season and this time as well. Certainly a lot of that has to do with Show Hope, and our involvement's still there. We get to do that together. My music, my career, things that are happening are exciting, that she gets to celebrate with me, becoming a member of the Grand Ole Opry back in November. That was a dream that my wife had. Honestly, that was her dream for me. I don't know that, I would have thought that's cool, but... Did
she tell you that?
5, 6 years ago.
Was it someday you're going to do this?
5 or 6 years, probably about 7 or 8 years ago, she went to my manager and she said, this is a dream that I have for my husband. He started at the Grand Ole Opry. He started at Opryland, was discovered really there, ended up doing Christian music and gospel music, and he's been invited back, and now the Opry embraces him and loves him. But she's like, this is a bucket list for me, for him, is that he would become a member of the Grand Ole Opry. And in her mind, I'll go ahead and say it because she was one to say it. If anybody in Christian music should be inducted as a member of the Grand Ole Opry, it's in his DNA, it's in his blood. It's where he started. So that would only make sense that he would be the first, maybe the first of many, but I think he should be the first. What a cool thing when it happened, and we found out she was there with me the night I got invited, which was a total surprise by Ricky Skaggs, and she was standing side stage, totally unknowing that was coming, and just to celebrate things like that, that are just, not the biggest thing that ever would happen in your life, but a long life dream together, and you get to celebrate those kinds of things together. It's just very, very sweet. There's just a sweetness, right now that we're getting to enjoy.